So Yana, with a young horse that moves the way that she does, you're going to be constantly balancing between the idea of, yes, I could stretch her, but she's not on her forehand, right? Because that she's a little bit precarious in the way that she's balanced right now. If you rode her completely, could you stretch her like we did with Falta, she would be tipped onto her forehand. So you're going to ride her sort of up and out like a ski boat, right? The front of the boat comes up out of the water and the back of the boat comes down. But you're going to keep checking in with the idea of could you stretch her, just knowing that when you put your leg on, does it go all the way through? Because that's the whole point of the stretch, right? Is can you legitimately say that when you put your leg on, there's no brace, there's no blocking because of tension, makes sense? So the other way that you can test that is do a downward transition. If there's no brace, no block, and she stays uphill and connected, then you were good, right? Does a downward transition necessarily mean change of gait? No. It may just mean that you operate from the normal trot to a little bit compressed trot, and then forward again. A little bit back to normal trot, a little bit compressed trot. Make sense? Because it's tempting with these horses that have a ton of scope to just ride them forward, 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 right? Which is what we all know that young horses need to do. But with a horse that has a good ability, you also need to check that you can keep them sitting more and going uphill, not just pushing forward and getting flat. Make sense? Yep, yeah, you're on the right track. So you have to kind of teach her how to, I say this because of what I see and also because of what you said about the canter. She feels balanced with speed as a factor, right? You must teach her how to balance when she's carrying. Make sense? She's a pushing type, right? She has a big scope, but she would tend to be toward the flatter side. Make sense? Not in a negative way. That's just the way, you know, horses are either carriers or pushers, right? She's a little bit of a pusher, which is great for the lower levels, but you have to teach these horses how to carry. Hardy's the same way. He's a pusher, right? So what you have to do is operate her in that smaller trot and keep her just as active, but not as much going over the ground. Make sense? So she learns how to pick herself up in her back and stay active in her body. Balance. She uses momentum to balance herself. Does that make sense? So you have to totally keep playing with balancing her back and then sending her forward upward. Balancing her back and then sending her forward upward. Say that again, Yana. Perfect. And again, they don't necessarily need to be between the gates. More productive within the gates. Do that one again because that wasn't correctly through, right? Remember back when we first rode Falta together that you had to feel each step, and you ride each step into trot. Don't settle for disconnected. Don't settle. Don't settle. Even if you jog off so that she doesn't tighten her back and use momentum to push herself forward, even if you jog off. In your mind, you're saying pee off, but in application, you're letting her jog. Make sense? Yep. Because she can't use momentum. No. Do it again. Good girl. You have to do it a little bit leg yield-like to prevent that tension creeping up in the forehand. Do it. This is just a little bit of a habit with her. Better effort, not good enough. Get my drift? Okay. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I totally agree. I just don't think I felt it yet on her.
You haven't?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you probably haven't. Think more shoulder fore-like, but not too much closed up. That's okay, no big deal.
When you want friends?
We might be yeah, we're going to be on time. Okay. Because this is a young one, and she has a 45, but she'll probably only go 30.
Okay.
That was the one.
Yeah.
Good work. Good work. So you kind of had to motor her up in the walk and then keep her a little bit sideways.